our music festival, Mark. Welcome to our music festival, Mark.
Anytime you can have a product that can truly change someone's life, I think that's an incredibly powerful product. I can't tell you how long we put into research and development for this. Most liquid carnitine is around 1,500 milligrams. We have a 2,000 milligram blend of 4 different types of liquid carnitine. We also have GBB, so you're actually going to be burning fat after you consume this product. This is going to make you sweat. This is going to make you not want to stop. You are going to perform like you've never performed before, and I can promise you that.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw, been in trouble with the law since the day they was born. Straightening the curves, flattening the hills. Someday the mountain might get 'em, but the law never will. Making their way the only way they know how. That's just a little bit more than the law will allow. Just a good old boy that wouldn't change if they could. Fighting the system like a true modern day Robin Hood.
Live from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway in virtual Talladega, Alabama. Welcome, sim racing fans, to the Core Racing Vintage Cup Series live on Racecraft TV. Happy that you all could join us here on the beautiful Monday evening. I'm your host, Joshua Lee. Alongside me in the commentary box is Jordan Hicks. And Jordan, we were here last week in the Core Racing Premier Series with the Cadillac CTSVs, but now we're here in the Vintage Cup cars for the Vintage Cup Series. What are you expecting as these drivers take to the high banks of Talladega in cars that are unique than any other cars that we really see here, especially the newer NASCAR Cup Series cars, because these cars do not run restrictor plates. We're going to be going upwards of 225 miles an hour around this high bank super speedway. This is going to be an awesome night of racing.
You know, definitely. I'm going to expect to see a lot of drafting. As what we saw last week was, I think it was like 2 laps in, we saw probably the biggest wreck of the race. So I'm expecting some crashes here and there, but we're at Dega and I'm excited.
Qualifying getting ready to wrap its way up. About 2 minutes remaining in qualifying as we prepare for tonight's race. We're taking a look at the points as we make our way. As we make our way closer to the playoffs, you can see those playoff standings. Carl Handwerk has clenched his spot into the playoffs. 4 wins on the season. An absolutely dominating season for Carl Handwerk so far in the Core Vintage Cup Series season. Chris Hamilton with 2 wins on the year. Nick Nickerson, who has been dominant for most of the year, still only sitting there with 1 win. Mark Thomas and Dylan McDonald both have 1. Andrew Gunther, Willie Evernham, Eric Andrews, Kevin Foster, Matt Crockett, Jimmy Covert, Paul Butler, and Wesley Fuller on the out. All are in the playoffs at the moment, but those drivers on the outside looking in are Derek Sherman, Joshua Bellitter, and Dave Lohr, as they sit 14th, 15th, and 16th outside of the cutoff line as they sit currently in the points. And tonight, speaking of Joshua Bellitter, he is running a tribute paint scheme to his father-in-law who passed away 3 years ago today. and his name and his band, Ernie Thacker and Route 23, are on his car tonight, along with the Wooden Nickels woodworking colors as well. A very sharp looking paint scheme by Joka Graphics, and he'll be running in honor of Ernie Thacker tonight around the virtual Talladega Super Speedway, as he is set to take the green flag. Currently did not qualify. He'll be starting towards the back of the field. And speaking to him before he climbed into his virtual race car, he was saying that he is going to be at the back tonight regardless, even if he qualified up front. So we're expecting to see Joshua Blitter climb his way up to the front, and he'll also be our in-race reporter. So we might bring him in under some of the yellow flags, and we assume we're going to have a good amount of yellow flags here tonight. But it's time to take a look at the starting grid for tonight's race in the Core Racing League Vintage Cup Series. Let's see where everybody's going to line up on the starting grid. Carl Handwerk on the pole ahead of Mark Thomas. They share row number 1. Wesley Fuller, Dylan McDonald in row 2. Nick Nickerson rounds out your top 5 with Jimmy Covert to his outside in row 3. Jonathan Platt, Kevin Foster share row 4. Row 5 is Anthony Keiswetter and Paul Butler. Row 6, Derek Sherman and Matt Crockett. Looking down the rest of your starting grid all the way down to P16 is Eric Andrews, Andrew Gunther, Dave Lohr, and Joshua Blitter rounding out your 16-car grid here at the virtual Talladega Super Speedway, as everybody starts to make their way onto the starting grid here at the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. And a massive track, Jordan, 2.66 miles in length, slightly bigger than the Daytona International Speedway, and it races a lot different than Daytona as well. It's a lot wider, a lot more space on the racetrack, but both Daytona and Talladega create exciting racing, and that's what we're expecting here tonight.
You know, definitely, especially with the drivers we got behind the wheels tonight, and, you know, from yesterday's race, it was definitely interesting, but you know, I'm definitely excited to watch these drivers go fast, and personally, I love racing Talladega, so very curious to see what these drivers can do strategy-wise and make it to the checkered flag.
And currently just waiting on Carl Handwerk to make his way onto the starting grid, and then we will be beginning our journey around the Talladega Super Speedway. There he goes onto the grid, and we are getting ready to go racing, looking out the back of the iRacing.com pace car, as they'll take one pace lap around the Talladega Super Speedway, and the entire field of 16 starts to roll off. The championship definitely getting interesting here in the Core Racing League Vintage Cup Series. Next week, we'll not be here on Racecraft TV, but they'll be going racing for the Season 2 All-Star race in the Winston at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Then, for Season 2 Race 11, they'll be at Charlotte once again for the Cheerwine 100. And it's Martinsville, Michigan, and Indianapolis to finish out the season, the regular season of the Core Racing League Vintage Cup Series. Then, we head into the first of the playoff rounds. Pocono, Phoenix, and New Hampshire for round 1, Daytona, Atlanta, and Richmond for round 2, and then we end it all off at Kansas Speedway on July 12th to crown a Core Racing League Vintage Cup Series champion. So a lot to look forward to in this series, and still a long way to go before we crown a champion. And the way the playoffs work in this series, a similar version to the current NASCAR playoff structure, where you win and you're in, you'll be cut off, and you have to make your way through playoff rounds in order to get that championship. But it is also going to be very interesting to see how that plays out with these vintage cup cars. They race entirely different than what we're used to seeing when it comes to NASCAR racing in 2021. And the field making their way behind the iRacing.com pace car through turns 3 and 4. 50 laps set to go for tonight. We'll see if we end up going over that distance into a green-white checkered for overtime. But the field making their way through turn number 4 down the long front straightaway. When this track was being constructed, it was originally supposed to be almost a carbon copy of Daytona, except just maybe a little bit larger. Bill France wanted higher speeds when it came to this new Talladega Super Speedway, and he wanted to sell more tickets down by turn number 1. And his solution to that was put the start-finish line past the tri-oval down towards the first turn. And this added real estate between the middle of the tri-oval and the start-finish line has provided for exciting finishes throughout the years here at the Talladega Super Speedway. And 16 of our drivers in the Core Racing League Vintage Cup Series are ready to go racing. They hit the lap pedal. We're underway from Talladega. Already seeing the main differences between drafting in 2021 and drafting back in the late 80s, the year these cars are modeled after. You can see them already going a lot faster than normal. Getting the dashboard up, Carl Handwerk already above 200 miles an hour, 205 as he heads into the corner, and already making a pass for the lead is Mark Thomas on the inside.
It's definitely crazy how fast these cars can catch up to speed. You know, we're just coming out of that second turn and they're already going 200 miles an hour, and you can see these drivers are working the wheels and they're still above 200 miles an hour. You can see Mark Thomas right there, 210 miles an hour as he crosses the line going into turns 1 and 2. Definitely really interesting here tonight.
And you can see them also having to lift when coming into the corners. That's going to be something also different these drivers need to look out for, especially when those tires start to get a little bit of wear in them. One car all the way down the bottom. That's Wesley Fuller. He gets back on safe. He'll drop to the back end of this pack. And you can see a couple of cars sitting back further in the field, just waiting to see exactly what happens up at the front of the field. And then that'll dictate exactly their strategy for tonight's race. Everybody getting through the first 2 laps clean. Ooh, the 2 car a little bit loose on that inside line. You can see him having to play with the wheel a little bit. He kept it under him and able to keep on going forward here on lap number 3. The 50 Mark Thomas running all the way up towards the wall as they make their way onto the back straightaway once again. Oh, caution is out. First one of the night. One car around in the back. It's Anthony Keiswetter in the 34.
Definitely interesting to see what happened there. It looks like he just got into the wall coming over turns 1 and 2 and just sent him spinning around. You can see another angle at that. See him running the middle line, and I think he came up a little too quick, got loose, and then into the wall he went. And, you know, definitely gonna suck for him, but hopefully see him come back out on that caution flag and not have to stay in past the green flag.
And we'll see exactly how that will play out as Keiswetter is still going. And these drivers in the series do receive 1 fast repair, so they are able to get their cars fixed relatively quickly and get back onto the racetrack. We'll see, however, if he ends up taking that this early on as we work into lap 4 of 50 here at the Talladega Super Speedway. Still just in the early stages of this race. We'll take a quick break here on Racecraft TV. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, more green flag action from the virtual Talladega.
We needed more. More from our bodies.
More from our minds.
So we went on a mission.
To study the top level of performance across every competitive playing field.
To find what fuels the highest level of athletes, businessmen, and gamers.
Through intense trials across every competitive landscape, we found that there were 5 undeniable principles that help your body operate at the highest level of peak performance all the time.
Focus. The ability to visualize and execute with precision. Focus is the single most important component when it comes to performance.
We combined multiple choline sources, including alpha GPC, choline bitartrate, along with L-tyrosine to help boost mental performance.
Recovery.
We need to take 5 to 100% as fast as possible. Bounce back with nourishing BCAAs.
For body and mind. Energy.
Fuel to get the job done. Answer the bell with confidence that you'll be able to attack with energy and intensity.
We mix a blend of instant and sustained release caffeine to light a fire with
300 milligrams of GO.
stamina.
The willpower to see it to the end.
But true stamina is coming back day after month after year. We incorporated L-carnitine to deliver energy on a cellular level, with betaine anhydrous and taurine augmenting those effects.
Hydration. Sports science was built on hydration, and it's no secret why.
That's why we added a blend of electrolytes to help sustain performance. We tried all of the other energy drinks. They may help you stay awake, but not much else. We combined all 5 pillars of performance into one single form:
Focus,
Recovery.
energy,
stamina.
and hydration. We call it refresh technology.
And it delivers more.
Welcome back to the virtual Talladega Super Speedway, working lap number 5 of 50 here for the Core Racing League Vintage Cup Series. And we are under the caution for the first time tonight, as the top 5 under that last caution stayed out on the racetrack, did not make their way into the pit lane. That's the 2, the 50, the 59, the 51, and the 17. Carl Handwerk in the 18, first driver to make their way into the pit lane. So, they now will be the first car on fresh tires, as the top 5 all stayed out. Eric Sherman looks like he might have been deciding on a pit road stop. Doesn't look like he will. Oh, it looks like Nick Nickerson is actually going to take the bluff, and so is Sherman, and Handwerk is back into the pit lane. This will be his second stop in this caution. Very interesting from the 18 of Carl Handwerk to pit not once but twice under this yellow flag. Wondering if he might have received some damage somewhere. The 2's in, the 14, the 51, the 10, the 9, the 34, the 3, everybody closer to the back making their way in. And I believe, yes we do, the lights are out on the iRacing.com pace car. We will be going back green this time by. Very interesting to see a handful of cars making their way into the pit lane. Not exactly sure if it's for a specific reason, or if he just wanted just make sure he had fresh tires, Jordan. It's very interesting to see Handwerk, of all people, pit twice under this yellow flag.
You know, definitely. It could just be a strategy of his that he usually runs on Talladega, but you really never know. And so it's really weird watching him going in the pits that early, especially. But whatever it is, hopefully it's working for him. But as we're about to go back green flag racing, you got to wait and find out.
Now, it's possible, and I wanted to bring this up because I think it's fairly similar to what the drivers did back in 2011, specifically at the Daytona 500, where you would have driver communications and you would have tandem drafting, and the drivers could communicate to other drivers via radios. NASCAR has since banned this. This is not allowed anymore, but back then it was fully allowed, where you could radio to another driver and talk to them, hear their spotter, hear their crew chief, and be able to communicate with them as you're tandem drafting. And what everybody does for this iRacing league specifically, and happens in other leagues as well, is everybody sits in the general Discord voice chat. They're allowed to talk to each other throughout the race. So I think what might have happened is Handwerk sort of put it out there if anybody wanted to draft with him. Then he came out right in front of Joshua Bolitter in the 3. So I'm wondering if Bolitter was like, hey, drop back here, I'll help you out, and we'll draft up to the front. That could very well be what is going on. We'll find out if they're going to work together or not, but we are ready to go back to racing. The 50 of Mark Thomas leads the field back to the green flag, and we are underway once again here from Talladega. Already gap in the field is Thomas, as Andrew Gunther sits in second place. Barely spread out up here at the top. Paul Butler sitting in fourth, trying to go around the outside of Dave Lohr. Can really see how different these cars draft than the modern NASCAR race cars, because they're just so spread out and they're able to clump up together fairly close, but definitely not as close as the current cars that we are used to seeing. And here comes Jonathan Platt in the 43, a good head of steam on the outside line. And you can see the speed starting to climb, 225 from the 43. As he was sideways coming out of the tri-oval, So the 43 has a full head of steam, and you can see they've clumped up pretty well now, and they've caught the leaders, and the leaders are side by side. That's Andrew Gunther there, and Jonathan Platt going to go all the way down to the bottom. We're 3 wide for the lead heading into turn 3.
Definitely interesting as we've got a whole lot of position changes, and as you were saying, Josh, the 43 car was just flying through there, but you can see the 38 of Dylan McDonald is right there with him, not letting him get away with that. So definitely going to be interesting as Dylan McDonald gets a little loose going into the trioval right there, and then that causes the 43 car of Platt to get away a little bit, but everyone seems all caught up going into turns 1 and 2 and heading out on the backstretch.
So Platt now leads ahead of Foster, McDonald, Fuller, and Gunther now your top 5. But you can see Paul Butler in the 68 right at the tail end of this pack, chasing the car up off of the banking. One car down on the inside, I believe. There's one car trying to drop to the back. I'm not sure exactly who. That's Wesley Fuller in the 35. He drops all the way to the back of this pack as now we have another battle for the lead. The 43 of Platt up on the outside line. The 8 of Foster, the 38 of Dylan McDonald on the inside. Side by side coming across the line. It's going to be Platt leading up on the outside line as we now work lap number 10 of tonight's race. And Platt still leads. We'll go on board on the gearbox with Jonathan Platt. But you can see almost nothing he can do already, making a move down to the inside. It's Kevin Foster in the 8. He's going to be your new leader as they work their way through turns 3 and 4. Still side by side for second. Dylan McDonald giving a huge shove to the 8 of Foster. On board with Dylan McDonald. You can hear him getting out of the gas in this onboard. Let's go into the cockpit view, see exactly what McDonald is seeing. And you can see sideways in front of him is Kevin Foster. These guys are chasing these cars at 200 miles an hour around Talladega.
You can just see how intimidating it looks as you can barely see behind you, and I'm pretty sure you don't want to see behind you because you got a whole bunch of cars there. And, you know, it's just a whole bunch of cars going in front of you and completely sideways in the turns, so it's definitely got to feel weird, especially for Dylan McDonald in the 38 car. You can just see the sparks flying up the whole windshield. He is right on the bumper of the 59.
Goes to the inside, lifts going through the tri-oval. His cars don't have that much downforce. You cannot take that flat out. You can barely take the banked corners flat out, turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You can hear him getting slightly out of the gas and working his way into the corner to try and get the car pointed. You can see him working his way back down the back straightaway. A lot of scrapping going on up here for the lead. Platt still has the lead. Almost 3 wide once again as Platt goes sideways once again. Dylan McDonald now stuck in the middle in the 38. Going to try and work his way up to the outside line. And he does for a moment as Foster comes up, almost makes contact. And the 2 car now down to the inside. Nick Nickerson looking for the lead. And he is going to take that lead away. Platt and McDonald now side by side for second. McDonald all over the back bumper of the 2. They're going to look 3 wide. That's McDonald on the inside. Oh, and Platt's around. Hard into the wall goes Jonathan Platt, the big one at Talladega.
Probably, if not the biggest wreck we might see tonight, as we are going to take a look at the replay on that one, as the 43 just slammed right in the wall. You could see the smoke, and he just turned and collided with a few more cars. Probably, once again, the biggest wreck of the night. And it would definitely suck to be the 43 car of Jonathan Platt. And you can see we're going to take another look from what happened.
I don't know how he didn't collide with more cars. He was spinning right in the middle. He taps the 38 of McDonald, taps the 50, but that's it. He spun in the middle of the pack, only collided with 2 cars. That is insane to me. I definitely thought we would have more involved there, but the 43 just hit 2 cars in that entire wreck.
Could only imagine what that looked like from anybody else's point of view. You know, you just see a car spinning right in front of you and somehow getting through it. So, just once again, you can just see him hit the front end of the 38 car, and man, if I was Dylan McDonald, I would be holding on for dear life right there.
On board with Platt. Chasing the car, slams McDonald and hard into the wall. And he had a collision with a 50 as well, but a little bit of netcode went into that one. And it just looks like he might have gotten away with not too much damage to his machine, but pit stops are in full swing, as we have a majority of the field making their way into the pit lane. Sherman stays out, and that pretty much is the only driver who stayed out on the racetrack. We'll see who gets out of the pit lane. As everybody makes their way into the pit stalls. Kevin Foster out first. Looks like he might have taken 2 tires. More drivers starting to trickle out of pit road. Jimmy Covert's in. Looks like another 2-tire stop for him. Looks like a good amount of drivers taking 2 tires, maybe. A couple of them grabbing 4. But everybody out of the pit lane. Handwork going to come out very, very late. Not sure if he's grabbing some... He might have gotten some damage to that right side. You can see that front end might be a little bit lower than the rest from that incident. Pit stops are done here for this yellow flag. Derek Sherman, Kevin Foster... Sorry, just Derek Sherman stayed out. Foster came in, so did Covert, Nickerson, Butler, and Platt. That is your top 5 as they exit pit road under the second caution of the day, working lap 15 of 50. We'll be right back here on Racecraft TV.
We needed more.
More from our bodies,
More from our minds.
so we went on a mission.
To study the top level of performance across every competitive playing field.
To find what fuels the highest level of athletes, businessmen, and gamers.
Through intense trials across every competitive landscape, we found that there were 5 undeniable principles that help your body operate at the highest level of peak performance all the time.
Focus. The ability to visualize and execute with precision. Focus is the single most important component when it comes to performance.
We combined multiple choline sources, including alpha GPC, choline bitartrate, along with L-tyrosine to help boost mental performance.
Recovery.
We need to take you from 5% to 100% as fast as possible. Bounce back with nourishing BCAAs.
For body and mind. Energy.
Fuel to get the job done. Answer the bell with confidence that you'll be able to attack with energy and intensity.
We mix a blend of instant and sustained release caffeine to light a fire with
300 milligrams of GO.
stamina.
The willpower to see it to the end.
But true stamina is coming back day after month after year. We incorporated L-carnitine to deliver energy on a cellular level, with betaine anhydrous and taurine augmenting those effects.
Hydration. Sports science was built on hydration, and it's no secret why.
That's why we added a blend of electrolytes to help sustain performance. We tried all of the other energy drinks. They may help you stay awake, but not much else. We combined all 5 pillars of performance into one single form:
Focus.
Recovery.
energy,
Stamina.
and hydration. We call it refresh technology.
And it delivers more.
Welcome back to the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. Derek Sherman did come down pit road in the 51, so he's now going to be closer to the back of the field. Also, Kevin Foster came back down pit road for another stop. Jonathan Platt just now exiting pit road after his damage repair. I actually think he might have stopped twice, grabbed his fast repair, and then might have just grabbed maybe another 4 tires or some more fuel on pit road. But the lights are out on top of the iRacing.com pace car, and we're getting ready to go back to racing. 15 laps down out of 50 here at the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. The 2-car, Nick Nickerson, finds himself out in front for the first time tonight. Paul Butler, Andrew Gunther, Eric Andrews, Mark Thomas rounds out your top 5. Dylan McDonald, Anthony Keiswetter, Dave Lohr, Jimmy Covert, and Matt Crockett rounds out your top 10 as we get ready to go back to racing. Still, all 16 cars who started this race are still in this race and are also on the lead lap. We're going to go on board for a lap with Andrew Gunther in the 59 as he takes the green flag for the restart here at Talladega. You can really see just how much fight going into the wheel for Andrew Gunther as he goes into second place, making a pass on the 68 of Paul Butler, but still a lot going on behind him as everybody starts to settle into this next green flag run. Butler reclaiming that spot on the outside line. Gunther still stuck on the inside. He's going to have some help from Eric Andrews and Dylan McDonald behind. Ooh, Gunther gets down onto the apron. He's able to keep the 59 under him, but that could have been very close to an incident as he went under the yellow line there for a moment. Top 3 single file, but they are side by side now for top 4 single file now. Side by side for 5th between McDonald and Eric Andrews. And I think McDonald might have thought he would have had a hole up on the top of the racetrack. He unfortunately did not. That stacks everybody up. 2 cars spin down to the apron. Mark Thomas, Dave Lohr spin to the apron. Caution is out.
Definitely really interesting. It seemed like a car was trying to come down, but was not clear of another car being there. You can see a replay, and then both of them just going into the wall. So rewinding to go back, and it just seems like the 50 car thought he had room, but had absolutely none, which caused our, I would say, I think, 3rd or 4th caution here tonight.
3rd caution on the night, and we'll grab another look at this incident from another angle, and you can see just the 50 might have just thought he might have had a hole on the inside there and went for it, rightfully so. But just unfortunately from this angle, just, some netcode also helped there as well, but the 50 was not clear and collides with Dave Lohr into the inside wall. Goes both the 50 and the 17. Don't think either of them have used their fast repairs yet, so that's at least a good thing. So we now work lap number 20 of 50 on the night. The 2 car still leads. Wondering if we'll see any takers to the pit lane this time. don't believe we will. Actually, we're going to see the entire field come back down into the pit lane. Jordan, this is really going to show how important fresh tires are here at Talladega. Normally, we don't talk about tire wear at a super speedway, but with these cars, you got to talk about tire wear wherever you go. The tires must be so crucial to the way these cars drive. These drivers are coming down every single caution to grab a fresh set.
You know, definitely, it seems like a smart idea, and you see every single driver, like you said, is coming down pit lane, and there's only a few that stay out every other caution, and so it's definitely really interesting, but it also would probably help out the cars out a lot here at Dega tonight.
And most of the cars taking 4 tires, some electing to grab 2. As now your leader is Jonathan Platt for the moment. I believe he's going to let the pace car by. And Andrew Gunther, Derek Sherman, Mark Thomas, Paul Butler, Jimmy Covert all making their way out of the pit lane once more. As the field will pace itself down the back straightaway. We talked earlier tonight about the tribute paint scheme that Josh Belitter in the 3 would be running tonight for his father-in-law, Ernie Thacker, who passed away 3 years ago today. And he is running a special tribute paint scheme for his band, Ernie Thacker, in Route 23 as well. And you can get a great look at that paint scheme there. And absolutely a great piece of work from the folks at Joka Graphics. And we'll grab a good close-up here as they make their way through the corner. We'll grab a bit of a zoom on the number 3 machine there. A wonderful looking paint scheme. And Josh Belitter tonight is our in-race reporter, so under this yellow flag, we're going to bring him into the broadcast booth and get his thoughts on the race so far as we work lap number 21 of 50 on the night. Josh Belitter, Joshua Lee in the Racecraft TV booth. You got a copy?
I got a copy, man. What's up?
Well, Josh, first of all, I want to talk about the race you're having so far. We're seeing you come back down pit road, and we were a little bit wondering exactly what the multiple pit stops were about. Is it just how important tires are here at the Talladega Super Speedway? You want a fresh set pretty much every caution?
Well, that and more for fuel. You can only go about 19 laps, so I'm trying to keep her filled up here. I know I still can't make it, but we're gonna make a run to the front here pretty soon.
And now I want to talk about that special paint scheme. We got a good look at it as you were pacing your way through turns 3 and 4. How important is this paint scheme to you tonight? And not just that, but the Wood and Nichols woodworking guys getting onto the hood of it and just having that special paint scheme from Joka Graphics as well and running it tonight.
Oh yeah, Ernie Thacker was a bluegrass musician and also my father-in-law. Probably the only father figure that my wife has ever had. So he passed about 3 years ago, and I decided I'm gonna put him on the car here, see if he can be my good luck charm tonight.
Well, as of right now, you're having a good night, staying out of the couple of wrecks that we have had tonight. What's your main strategy for trying to stay away from the big one at Talladega and be in the conversation when it comes to lap number 50 coming to the checkered flag?
My strategy right now is just really ride back here in the back, like you said, just avoid all the crashes, and probably I would say here in the next probably 10 laps I'll start making my way up.
Well, thank you so much for joining us under this yellow flag. Good luck, and hopefully we'll talk to you once more before we end the race tonight.
All right, thanks, man. Hopefully it's in victory lane.
I definitely, hopefully, to see you in victory lane tonight. Josh Belitter, driver of the number 3, currently sits in 14th on the leaderboard. And there's another good look at that Ernie Thacker in Route 23 tribute paint scheme on the number 3 machine. But it's time to go back to racing here from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. Paul Butler leads the field back to the green. Jimmy Covert, Nick Nickerson, Matt Crockett, and Dave Lohr rounds out your top 5. As we go back to racing from the virtual Talladega. let's go on board for this restart with the driver in fourth, the number 10 of Matt Crockett. Matt Crockett getting out of the throttle so much during that last lap that we were on board. Trying to make sure that car can handle exactly how he needs it to. As we now work our way into lap number 24 of 50 on the night. And going into two distinct packs now. The top five, sorry, top six starting to break away single file. And you can see seventh on back, sliding their way through turns 3 and 4 in a little bit more of a heavier pack as Carl Andork slices in front of Andrew Gunther in the 59 for 9th place.
You know, I'm really concerned to see how long it'll take, or if we even have enough time for these drivers to reach lap traffic, because that's when a lot of things are going to start to change. And, you know, a lot of these drivers are going to have to fight for keeping their lines in order to stay fast. And I'm pretty sure it only takes a matter of time for them to do so. As you can see, Nick Nickerson just leading the pack. And you can see some cars getting out of hand. And it seems like everybody's good as we are entering turns 3 and 4. About to go on lap 26 out of 50 here at Talladega.
And that was 51 of Derek Sherman, tapping the wall further on. Backward car loses at the 34 of Anthony Keiswetter into the apron. Another caution is out, and a huge hit for Sherman. And I believe that was Wesley Fuller in the 35. Yes, it was. 3 cars involved off turn 4. It started with the 34 starting to lose the back end, and it ended with a heavy hit to 2 cars. Here's the replay of Keiswetter, and you can see he dove it into the corner, and it just started to get loose. He hit the apron, chased it up the racetrack, didn't hit the wall, but he went back to the apron and spun it right back up onto the racetrack. And there's the huge hit for the 35 and the 51. Nowhere for either of them to go. Try and grab another replay here, specifically on board with the 51 of Derek Sherman, as he had pretty much nowhere to go. 35 hits him, and nowhere for the 51 to possibly go to avoid that incident. On board with Wesley Fuller now. Nowhere for him to go either. He tried to go low, couldn't get there fast enough. Slams into the car that was spinning, the 34 of Anthony Keiswetter. And around he went, and we're back under the yellow flag, and more shoes for Wesley Fuller, as you can see that engine starting to go. As we're now over halfway done with this race, field coming back down into the pit lane. Majority of the cars, like Josh Belitter mentioned, about 19 laps they can make it on fuel. If we go green to the end here, they will need to pit at least one more time, but definitely not expecting a full green flag run to the end at this point. So Dave Lohr, Andrew Gunther stay out, and assuming they will make their way into the pit lane before we go back to racing in about 2 more laps. But right now, we're going to grab a short break here on Racecraft TV. Don't go anywhere. Hopefully, we'll have a long green flag run and non-stop coverage for you coming up after the break.
We needed more.
More from our bodies.
More from our minds.
So we went on a mission.
To study the top level of performance across every competitive playing field.
To find what fuels the highest level of athletes, businessmen, and gamers.
Through intense trials across every competitive landscape, we found that there were 5 undeniable principles that help your body operate at the highest level of peak performance all the time.
Focus. The ability to visualize and execute with precision. Focus is the single most important component when it comes to performance.
We combined multiple choline sources, including alpha GPC, choline bitartrate, along with L-tyrosine to help boost mental performance.
Recovery.
We need to take you from 5% to 100% as fast as possible. Bounce back with nourishing BCAAs.
For body and mind. Energy.
Fuel to get the job done. Answer the bell with confidence that you'll be able to attack with energy and intensity.
We mix a blend of instant and sustained release caffeine to light a fire with
300 milligrams of GO.
stamina.
The willpower to see it to the end.
But true stamina is coming back day after month after year. We incorporated L-carnitine to deliver energy on a cellular level, with betaine anhydrous and taurine augmenting those effects.
Hydration. Sports science was built on hydration, and it's no secret why.
That's why we added a blend of electrolytes to help sustain performance. We tried all of the other energy drinks. They may help you stay awake, but not much else. We combined all 5 pillars of performance into one single form.
Focus.
Recovery.
Energy,
Stamina.
and hydration. We call it Refresh Technology.
And it delivers more.
Welcome to our music festival, Mark. Welcome to our music festival, Mark.
Welcome back to the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. Lights out on the iRacing pace car as we work lap number 28 of 50. More cars electing to make their way into the pit lane. Only about 19 laps these drivers can make it on fuel, so multiple pit stops under the yellow flag is a good thing. And a lot of drivers electing to do that. Still not at that 19 laps to go mark just yet. We will be there fairly shortly, so if we get another caution, I'm expecting a lot of drivers to pit under that because they'll be good to the end on fuel, so they won't have to make any more stops as long as they don't want a fresh pair of Goodyear tires. But field back onto the back straightaway. And Jordan, we've seen a good bit of incidents, albeit no huge incidents. The largest incident we've had is 3 cars, and that brought out the 4th caution of the day, the last one that we're pacing for now. But even with that, are you expecting some drivers to start to calm down a little bit, or are you expecting them to still be fairly rowdy when it comes to the way they're racing out on the racetrack?
As of now, I would say these drivers are going to stay a little calm, but I think once that 15 lap or 10 lap mark that is left comes up on the screen, I definitely feel like these drivers are going to drive a little harder, and then once those 5 laps hit, it's when everything just breaks loose, and then these drivers are just going to put it in whatever they got. And as of now, if we stay green until the finish, these drivers are going to be very close on an empty tank because, like you said, Josh, they only have 19 laps of fuel. And so it's definitely going to be interesting if it's a straight green flag to the checkered here tonight.
And we'll see if that's the fact. Dave Lohr, Paul Butler, Matt Crockett, Kevin Foster, Mark Thomas, your top 5. Dave Lohr, your biggest mover of the race tonight, as he is up 14 spots, and he will lead the field back to the green flag. And we're going on board for 1 lap with Mark Thomas in the 50. Mark Thomas all over the place as he loses multiple positions out on the racetrack. And you can see damage to that front end as well. Definitely don't think that number 50 is handling exactly how it should. Paul Butler grabs the lead. Kevin Foster on his outside. One car gets loose, spinning down in the apron, slams the walls to Ted and Matt Crockett.
Definitely interesting as we just went green, and there's already...
And we stay green. We're still under the green flag. Matt Crockett pulls it into pit lane. No caution called for this.
Definitely surprising because that was a pretty hard hit into the wall, and it just seems like he got loose and then straight head on into the wall. So I'm really surprised they didn't bring out the caution flag.
And that is not a good thing for Matt Crockett, as he's now going to have to fix that damage under green and tow to the pit lane under green. He's not going to have that sort of glory of a caution flag to where he has more time to tow and get the damage fixed and not lose that minute's time. Mark Thomas into the wall in the 50.
It definitely seems like everyone's getting a little out of place right now, as we've had a few slight incidents happen right now, but surprisingly nothing to bring out that caution flag. So definitely interesting.
The 2 of Nick Nickerson up on the outside line. Dylan McDonald in the draft wake of the 43, Jonathan Platt, and he's going to go down to the inside for the lead. Oh, one car gets loose on the inside. Dave Lauren, the 17, he saves it, but he's going to need to get it back onto the racetrack. Can he do this safely? Yes, he can. He's up on the apron of the track. He will stay green, and he's going to stay on the racetrack as well. As the field now almost completely bunched up here at the front, battling for the lead. Ooh, a bit of a shove to them inside. Goes Dylan McDonald, makes contact with the 43. They're 3 wide for the lead. McDonald looking for it on the inside. Nickerson all the way up on the outside in the 2. The 43, Jonathan Platt in the middle. They settle it back out to 2 wide. It's the 43 versus the 2 in turns 1 and 2, making their way into the back straightaway. Platt has the advantage on the inside, but not by much. Back to 3 wide as they work down the super stretch. McDonald able to clear in the middle. He will grab the race lead, as they are 2 by 2 for 3 rows, making their way back onto the front straightaway. Platt now to the inside, 3 wide for the lead through the tri-oval. Now 3 wide for second as the 2 clears this pack. Back to 2 wide as they make their way through turns 1 and 2 once again. Everybody all over the place, and we're within that final window of laps where if we get a caution now and they make their way into pit lane, they will be good on fuel to the end. As of right now, if we stay green, they will have to come down into pit road one more time.
This is where things get interesting, because some drivers can spin and some could run out of fuel depending on if they stayed out previously. But you can just see that 2 car is slowly getting away, but the 68 of Paul Butler is not letting them do so, as we are working lap 35 out of 50 remaining with 15 laps to go here at Talladega.
Butler looks for the lead on the inside. He has McDonald in handwork behind him. Onto the back straightaway. They'll come across the start-finish line this time, buy and grab 15 laps to go. All over the back bumper of the leader, Paul Butler, is Dylan McDonald in the 38. Giving him a huge shove as they make their way into turn 3. Sideways is the 38 of Dylan McDonald, chasing the car all the way around the track. Back to 3 wide for the lead. Goes back to 2 wide. The 2 car of Nick Nickerson has been working that outside line all night long, and he has been doing it absolutely flawlessly as he keeps the lead. And I don't think he's run the bottom line really at all, especially in this last run, and he's pulling away with the lead here at Talladega. Sideways coming off the corner. Handwork sideways as well. He saves it right behind Paul Butler. Drifting through the corners once again is the 2. The 18 goes to the inside of the 68, looking for second place. Handwork and Butler side by side. McDonald and Gunther side by side. They're going to settle it out now to single file as McDonald tries to join the fight for second between Butler and Handwork. Handwork able to grab second place, but albeit not by much. And he's sideways coming off the corner once again. He's going to lose that spot. Handwork is loose down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Definitely a lot of movement within the top 3 right there, as a lot of cars were trying to keep their line and they just kept sliding out as they were coming out of turns 1 and 2. And that is going to put Carl Handwork at the back of that pack. So something so little like that can put him so far back. And you can see Nick Nickerson still pulling away by a little bit. But the 38 is not letting him do so as well, as it seems like they have a little bit of a run on him. But going into 1 and 2, still remains Nick Nickerson in P1.
13 laps to go now, and Handwork fell all the way down to 9th as we're single file down the back straightaway. Everybody running the outside line of the racetrack heading into turn 3. Gunther hops to the inside. So does the 14 of Jimmy Covert. Dylan McDonald joins them as he looks for the lead.
It also seemed like the 2 car got a little bit loose on the high line right there. Not too sure, but it seems like everything is running good still. And the 38 is running the inside line as we almost make contact right there. And let's see if he's going to dive it down for the lead. No, he won't. Definitely interesting battles here tonight as we are winding down here at Talladega.
And working their way back through turns 3 onto the back straightaway. Butler stuck up on the outside line trying to make something happen. McDonald on the inside might have a better opportunity as the 2 does get loose on that outside line. He's leading the line and he's leading the race, but the inside looks a little bit better on the entry of the corner. We'll see what McDonald can do as you are on board. Going to the full other side of the lock for the wheel as he tries to rally it around. Oh, onto the apron he goes. Getting loose is Dylan McDonald. He's around in the middle of the pack. The big one at Talladega. And we're back under the yellow flag with 11 laps to go. And Dylan McDonald have been fighting that car for the last couple of laps. And it finally reached a point where it snapped around on him. Here's where we first joined him on board. And this is what I really wanted to go back to on the replay. Because you can see the 38 Dylan McDonald full lock to the other side of the wheel. Trying to keep it going in a straight line. And he goes into 1. It gets loose. He chases it a little bit. But then he gets onto the apron, and that sends him around. A little bit too early on that replay. We'll see. Here we go. This is where he ends up. He's very loose coming through the tri-oval. Has to chase it, and he does. Makes his way into turn 1. And he's sideways again, gets onto the apron, and after that, he chased it too much. A little bit over correction, and right into the 59, the 14, the 9, and the 68 he goes. Ada Kevin Foster involved. The 59 of Andrew Gunther. Eric Andrews involved. Though that car is totaled. He's going to need to use his fast repair if he hasn't already. But that puts us back under the yellow flag now. 10 laps to go from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. What is the pit lane going to look like? Is it going to be everybody? We can expect it to be everybody. They're within the pit window. Or if they pit now, they'll be good to the end. And there they go. Everybody into the pit lane for the final stop of the race. They're all good to the end on fuel from here, but the question is, who's going to be the first out of the pit lane? All the cars going up the jack stands. The 8 machine is going to be out first. Kevin Foster, Jimmy Covert out. Jonathan Platt out third. I think a lot of them electing to take fast repairs and nothing else. Or maybe fuel and nothing else. No tires. 4 tires for handwork. Dylan McDonald grabbing 4. Wesley Fuller grabs 4. Multiple others grabbing 4 tires. As they make their way now out of the pit lane. And back onto the racetrack. But first out, it was the 8 car of Kevin Foster. So he will lead the pace field behind the iRacing.com pace car. As we get set to go back to racing here at the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. We'll grab a quick break to thank a sponsor, and then we'll be right back on Racecraft TV. Only 9 laps to go. We're reaching the end of this race here for the virtual Talladega. Don't go anywhere. We are going to the end of the race coming up next.
Welcome to our music festival, Mark. Welcome to our music festival, Mark.
We needed more.
More from our bodies,
More from our minds.
so we went on a mission.
To study the top level of performance across every competitive playing field.
To find what fuels the highest level of athletes, businessmen, and gamers.
Through intense trials across every competitive landscape, we found that there were 5 undeniable principles that help your body operate at the highest level of peak performance all the time.
Focus. The ability to visualize and execute with precision. Focus is the single most important component when it comes to performance.
We combined multiple choline sources, including alpha GPC, choline bitartrate, along with L-tyrosine to help boost mental performance.
Recovery.
We need to take you from 5% to 100% as fast as possible. Bounce back with nourishing BCAAs.
For body and mind. Energy.
Fuel to get the job done. Answer the bell with confidence that you'll be able to attack energy and intensity.
We mix a blend of instant and sustained release caffeine to light a fire with
300 milligrams of GO.
stamina.
The willpower to see it to the end.
But true stamina is coming back day after month after year. We incorporated L-carnitine to deliver energy on a cellular level, with betaine anhydrous and taurine augmenting those effects.
Hydration. Sports science was built on hydration, and it's no secret why.
That's why we added a blend of electrolytes to help sustain performance. We tried all of the other energy drinks. They may help you stay awake, but not much else. We combined all 5 pillars of performance into one single form.
Focus.
Recovery.
Energy,
Stamina.
and hydration. We call it Refresh Technology.
And it delivers more.
Welcome back to the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. 8 laps to go here in Alabama, in the field getting ready to go back to racing behind the iRacing.com pace car. Jimmy Covert, Jonathan Platt, Derek Sherman, Joshua Bolitter, and Nick Nickerson, your current top 5 as they make their way down the Talladega Super Stretch. And this race almost to an end. As taking a look at the positions gained over the race, Joshua Bolitter in the 3, your biggest mover of tonight's race. He'll start in 4th on this restart, and we'll be going on board with him for a lap on this restart. And now, with that last caution, everybody is good to the end on fuel. So it's just going to be an all-out battle to the end. Will we go green all the way, or will we see another caution? That's the main question. These drivers have been getting a little bit better at handling these race cars around this racetrack, but still is a bit of uncertainty on what's going to happen on this final restart. We're going on board with the 3 of Joshua Bolitter as we go back to racing from Talladega. Joshua Blue, the first time he can be found up front all night long. Rode around in the back, now trying to get the win. Is up at the front, battling for the lead. It's Jonathan Platt and Nick Nickerson on the outside in the 2. 6 laps to go as they work the back straightaway. The 2 still on the outside line. He's been working that line for pretty much the entire race, and it seems to be working as he's still able to run with the leaders. Platt on the inside. He has Covert, Sherman, and Fuller behind him. On the outside, it's Nickerson at the head, ahead of Butler, Bellitter, Handwork, and Gunther now joining the back end of that line. Oh, and around goes Bellitter in the middle of the pack. I think Fuller got tagged as well. Another caution is out. One more car got tagged. I'm not sure who, but Bellitter in the 3 spins down to the grass.
It's definitely got to suck for him, as you can see him just getting loose and then tapped. I think that was from Carl Handwork, not 100% sure, but hopefully there's not much damage to him. As
and
yes,
it was Fuller.
You can just see him trying his best to get that car straight, and then just around it goes. Definitely got to suck, as we are only 5 laps away from the checkered flag, and he would have had a clean race, but depending on damage, hopefully he can keep up with the pack, and worst case scenario, be in the back.
Ooh, a great save from Wesley Fuller in the 35 as he hit the wall on the outside. And it was shaping up to be a good day for Joshua Bellitter as well, and unfortunately, that is most likely going to end his hopes of a win, and we're going to be going into overtime once this caution period is over. But the 2 of Nick Nickerson now finds himself out in front. Jonathan Platt, Jimmy Covert, Paul Butler, Derek Sherman, your top 5. Wesley Fuller, Carl Handwork, Andrew Gunther, Mark Thomas, Eric Andrews rounds out your top 10. Currently on the racetrack as we work our way. 4 laps to go. We will be heading into overtime, where we will have a green-white checkered finish. We'll start with the green flag. Field will make it 1 lap around, and if they are able to, they'll grab the white flag. If not, and the caution comes out, we'll rack them back up and have another attempt at a green-white checkered finish. And if they're able to make it around from the white flag and take the checker, then that is going to be the race over. And on the white flag lap, no cautions can be called. So we get ready for the last run to the finish for this race. Joshua Bellitter in the 3, making his way down into the pit lane. He is our in-race reporter for this race, and we'll grab him in here and ask him exactly what happened on that incident. Joshua Bellitter, Josh Lee up in the Racecraft TV booth. I know you did not want to be talking to us this early, but do you have a copy?
I have a copy, man.
Well, we, of course, just saw that spin down into the grass. It seemed like that car just snapped around. Is that what it felt like in the cockpit?
Yeah, well, I think it was going into maybe turn 1, was it? I'm not even sure.
I believe so.
It just snapped around on me. I was trying to save it, and then Carl in the 18 touched me a little bit and finished it off.
And you were having a great run up at the front. How was your car handling for most of the day? Because we saw you when you had an opportunity up there. You were rallying for the win.
Yeah, I mean, it's been handling pretty good. That's the first time it broke, like snapped loose like that. I just wasn't expecting it. And like I said, I was trying to save it, and then it just came around with me.
Final green-white checkered stint to the finish. How confident are you in the car and of the drivers around you? Do you think you can try and pick up a couple more spots, grab a top 10 out of today?
Oh, yeah. I got Kevin Foster here in front of me. I'll probably push him up through here a little bit.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Racecraft TV. Don't think we'll talk to you after the race, so for now, anybody else you would like to thank?
Just Brandon Nickel with Wooden Nickel Woodworking, my primary sponsor here tonight. And just want to give a shout out to my kids, Casey and Caleb, real quick. I know they'll be watching this broadcast tomorrow, so sorry I couldn't get a win.
Well, thank you very much for joining us twice tonight under the yellow flags as our in-race reporter, and good luck here on this finish. It's going to be a wild one.
Oh yeah, hopefully I can pick up a few spots like you said.
That was Joshua Belitter, 13th currently on the racetrack as we get ready for a green-white checkered finish here tonight. The 2-car of Nick Nickerson is going to lead the field to the green flag in just about 1 lap. We'll step away for just a quick moment, but when we come back, we're going green flag racing in overtime from Talladega.
Welcome to our music festival, Mark. Welcome to our music festival, Mark.
Anytime you can have a product that can truly change someone's life, I think that's an incredibly powerful product. I can't tell you how long we put into research and development for this. Most liquid carnitine is around 1,500 milligrams. We have a 2,000 milligram blend of 4 different types of liquid carnitine. We also have GBB, so you're actually going to be burning fat after you consume this product. This is going to make you sweat. This is going to make you not want to stop. You are going to perform like you've never performed before, and I can promise you that.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw, been in trouble with the law since the day they was born. Straightening the curves, flattening the hills. Someday the mountain might get 'em, but the law never will. Making their way the only way they know how. That's just a little bit more than the law will allow. Just a good old boy, wouldn't change if they could. Fighting the system like a true modern day Robin Hood.
Welcome back to the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. It's time for the first green-white checkered attempt of the night. If they make it around to the white flag, the race will be official and they'll race back to the checkered. If not, we're going to be racking them back up onto a restart and trying for it one more time. 2 laps to go in the first attempt at a green-white checkered from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. The leader, Nick Nickerson, in the 2, hits the loud pedal. We're back underway. Already making a move for third is Paul Butler on Jimmy Cover to the outside. Everybody getting up through the gears for what could be the final restart of the night. Everybody looking for any positions they might be able to possibly grab on this finish. Especially Jonathan Platt there. Gunther goes all the way down to the apron, loses the car, he gets it back, no caution, no spin. Platt now going to the inside for the lead on the 2.
This is definitely heating things up for a crazy finish. As you can see, Platt just seems like he is having a run of a lifetime in the 14 car of Jimmy Covert's right behind him. We also got Nick Nickerson followed right behind them in the 2 car. So definitely a really heated top 3 as we are winding down, as we are on the final lap here at Talladega.
The white flag is out one more time around the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. This race is official. They will race back to the checkered flag. And Jonathan Platt looking for his first win of the season and to lock himself into the playoffs. He's going to have to defend the 2 and the 14 behind. They race down the super stretch for the final time. Platt trying to cover the inside, but here comes Jimmy Covert trying to clinch his spot. He's loose on the inside. Platt loose as well. He chases the car. Wesley Fuller now into the picture. Here they come on to the final checkered flag. The final race to the end through the tri-oval. Fuller loose, Platt loose. Who's going to get through to win the race? Mark Thomas in the 50 takes it. An unbelievable finish. Mark Thomas in the 50 has won this race. What a finish from Talladega. It was Mark Thomas in the 50 across the line at the end for the win. His second win of the season. Caught up in a wreck earlier today, and he gets his second win of the season and his first since Auto Club. What a race and what a finish as Mark Thomas comes in right at the end to take that win away. Wow, unbelievable end to that race. Mark Thomas comes home your winner in the 50. We're going to grab your full race results, and then we're taking a deep dive at that last lap. What a final lap it was. But here is your full race results. Mark Thomas with the win. Jonathan Platt comes home in second place. A great drive for him. Wesley Fuller, Dylan McDonald, Carl Handwerk, your top 5. Andrew Gunther, Eric Andrews, Nick Nickerson drops all the way to 8th on that last lap. Kevin Foster, Jimmy Covert, top 10. Paul Butler, Matt Crockett, Derek Sherman, Joshua Belitter, Dave Lohr, and Anthony Keiswetter rounds out your full grid of cars that took the green flag here today. Now, we got to take a look at this full white flag lap. So Platt was leading coming across the line. And you can see it there. And they make their way through turn number 1. Covert and Nickerson working the outside line in the 2. They come off of turn 2 onto the back straightaway. And right here, Jonathan Platt tries to cover the inside away from Covert. He's not clear. Covert goes down to the apron. And they're 4 wide. For a quick moment there, they were 4 wide. About right here. They're about 4 wide. And we'll grab a zoom from our camera here. But you can see it right about there. They're 4 wide going into this corner. And it was just an insane finish to this race. There's the angle I'm looking for. So they're 4 wide there for second place. The 2 hits the wall on the outside. I'll go back a little bit further here. The 14 spinning on the inside. 2 hits the wall on the outside. The 59 of Gunther comes up through the middle. Makes contact with the 68 of Butler. Here comes Wesley Fuller in the 35. And Mark Thomas is sitting in 5th. Coming on to the front straightaway on the final lap of this race. And what's the most insane thing is you can see them all working their way onto the front straightaway. The 59 hits the wall. That's Gunther. Thomas grabs a spot. Then it looks like it's going to be Wesley Fuller on the inside grabbing the spot away from the 43. They make contact. That sends the 43 up the track. Now here comes the 68 to the inside. But the most insane part, Mark Thomas goes to the middle. Or goes to the bottom. Butler up to the middle. He hits the 43, who in turn hits the 35. The 35 and the 68 go spinning into the apron. The 43 loses it coming out of the tri-oval. And Mark Thomas, as the C's part in front of him, grabs the win coming across the start-finish line. What a race and what a finish. And we have Mark Thomas now joining us in the booth. Mark, looking at the replay, how was it just to see 5 cars in front of you just start spinning everywhere and you get through to win the race?
That was the most insane thing that I think I've ever done on iRacing. I was wheeling like a madman, I'm telling you. Jeez. That was the craziest thing. That was crazy. I see them go off to the right. Then they started going in front of me. I was still in it. I was holding it, praying, and then the gap just opened up for me.
And we're taking a look at the replay of your onboard. The 68 comes up, 35 go down into the apron, and 43 just loses it in front of you. And you come across the line, and we saw you get caught up in a wreck earlier on today, too. How was that recovery drive? Because on the last lap, it didn't even look like you were in contention for the win, and there you are leading at the start-finish line.
To be honest, the first off that I had sort of paid to me. I was going to use my fast repair, but I thought about it, and I know that sometimes these things can get a little rough. So I saved it, and then I think it was about 8 laps to go when we came in for our last for the last caution. I thought, now's the time. I'm going to use my pit repair. My car's going to be clean. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be good to go, and it seemed to pan out for me.
Now you went, I just counted the cars in front of you. You went from 7th to 1st from turn 3, coming around to the finish. You went from 7th to 1st. And I don't think you're going to do that at our next race, which is going to be the next points race at Charlotte. But do you think now you have 2 wins on the season, you can put together a consistent end to the regular season and have a championship hope come into the playoffs?
Oh, I don't know about championship hope. I mean, Nick and Carl are so quick. But I mean, if it pans out like it did today, and and it swings in my favour, I just want to be there at the end. And with a little bit of luck, it could come my way.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and what a finish from you. Anybody else you would like to thank on Racecraft TV?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Carl for putting on the whole season. I'd like to thank every single driver in that race, because those things are a mission to get around that track as quickly as they were. I mean, they are so light, so skittish. I'd like to thank my missus for supporting me. I'd like to thank you guys for doing such a bang-up job of coming here every week and just, commentating for us and doing all of the things that you do so well.
Thank you very much for joining us in the broadcast booth. Mark Thomas, your winner. And Jordan, that is just what Talladega is all about. 7th to 1st in the final 2 corners and the run up to the start finish line. Man, that's just what everybody loves about Talladega, and we got such a good finish.
Definitely, and like I said a few laps back, it was heating up for a crazy finish, and we got one. And personally, I've never seen a finish like that in my whole time of even playing or watching anything to do with iRacing. So I want to say a huge congratulations to Mark Thomas in the 50. That was probably the best finish I've ever watched on this simulator.
Well, we don't know if we'll have a finish like that at Charlotte come next 2 weeks. Next week, we'll be off on the broadcast. They'll be taking part in the Winston, the All-Star race for the season. 2 weeks from tonight, we'll be at Charlotte for the Cheerwine 100. Make sure you join us for that as the road to the championship continues for the Core Racing Vintage Cup Series. For Jordan Hicks, I'm Joshua Lee. Thank you for joining us, and we're saying good night from the virtual Talladega.